Welcome to Passport to Sleep, a calming journey through real places and dreamy escapes. Let's begin tonight's story. The train eases into Kanazawa in the early afternoon, sleek and silent as it slides into the station. Outside, the city rises gently. Low buildings in earth tones, tiled rooftops, quiet storefronts beneath slanted eaves. The platform smells faintly of rain and warm stone. There's a hush here, even among travellers. Everything moves slowly, purposefully, as if the city is conscious of its own elegance. We step into the quiet street, our bags rolling softly over the pavement. The sky is soft grey, brushed with silver clouds that shift and stretch without hurry. Even the air feels calm, cool, damp, and tinged with the faintest scent of pine and tea. A taxi carries us through town, winding past narrow lanes, shop fronts lined with wooden slats, and intersections where bicycles glide silently past. Our driver says little, but smiles often. His radio plays a soft instrumental melody that matches the light. We pass a canal bordered by stone, its surface smooth as lacquer, and turn down a narrow street lined with ryokans. Ryokan Sumiyosha waits for us just behind a curtain of bamboo, its entrance framed in aged wood and a small curved roof. We remove our shoes inside and are greeted with low bows, warm towels for our hands, and a cup of green tea that smells faintly of roasted rice. The innkeeper shows us to our room, tatami mats on the floor, a low table set with sweets, futons folded neatly to one side, waiting for night. We open the shoji screen to a tiny courtyard where moss climbs up stones and a maple tree leans gently inward, its red leaves slick with the memory of rain. We don't unpack yet. We sit on the cushions beside the low table and sip our tea, watching the steam curl upward. Outside, the rain has stopped, but the world still glistens. Everything feels new, even the quiet. Lunch is nearby, tucked above a tiny shop near the garden's edge. Fumaroya Cafe serves traditional dishes centered on yuba, delicate layers of tofu skin folded into warm broth or wrapped around soft vegetables. The interior is all light wood and gentle curves. We sit near the window, overlooking a courtyard garden, and listen to the soft clink of porcelain and the hush of conversation. We share a plate of yuba with seasonal greens, pickled daikon, and a bowl of miso soup so delicate it feels like a whisper. Everything tastes gentle, clean, and deep, like the food remembers the land it came from. Outside, the light has shifted. We walk slowly through the wide stone paths toward Kenroku-en Garden, the most revered in all of Japan, where every tree, every pebble, every bridge has been placed not just with care, but with intent. The name means Garden of 6 Attributes, meant to balance spaciousness, seclusion, artifice, antiquity, water, and panoramic views. The entrance is quiet, just a few other visitors. The rain has left the stones dark and shining. The moss glows green beneath twisted pines. We walk without direction, past still ponds edged with irises, over arched bridges carved from single slabs of stone, under plum trees already beginning to bud. A heron stands by the water, motionless. There's no noise but the hush of water flowing from an unseen spring and the crunch of gravel beneath our shoes. In the center of the garden stands Kotoji Toro, the two-legged lantern, reflected perfectly in the water below. We stop here for a long while, letting the moment lengthen. The trees sway gently overhead. Somewhere behind us, a temple bell sounds, slow and deep. At the edge of the garden sits the Ishikawa Prefectural Museum of Traditional Arts and Crafts. The building itself is quiet and low, nestled into the hill. Inside, the lighting is soft, the floors smooth beneath our socks. We wander through displays of Kagayuzen silk dyeing, intricate gold leaf folding fans, delicate Kutani porcelain, and carved lacquerware so deep it seems to hold its own light. There are no crowds, just silence and reverence. We return to the ryokan before sunset, feet a little sore, thoughts slowed by beauty. Our futons have been laid out while we were away. Soft lanterns now glow in the corners of the room. We sit again by the garden window and sip barley tea left for us on a tray. Dinner tonight is simple, just a short walk through Higashiyama, the Higashi-Chaya district, Kanazawa's preserved tea house quarter. The street is paved with wide stones, and the buildings are low and wooden, painted in rust and gold and charcoal. The windows glow from within, lit by paper lanterns. In some, you can see the silhouettes of people kneeling at tables, soft music rising through rice paper walls. We walk slowly through the district, past the Kaikaro tea house, its red walls catching the glow of the lamps, past closed doors and curtained doorways, where geisha still perform by appointment. The air smells of rain and cedar and distant incense. We stop for dinner at Jiyuken, a tiny, family-run restaurant with only a few seats. The smell of curry and caramelized onions wraps around us the moment we step inside. We order Kanazawa curry, rich, thick, dark as night, poured over rice and served with a perfectly fried cutlet. There's pickled cabbage on the side and a bowl of clear soup. The flavors are deep and warming, the kind that stay with you. We leave full and quiet. The district is even more peaceful now. A soft breeze moves down the street, and the sound of our footsteps on stone feels like part of the place. Back at the ryokan, we change into the provided yukata and lie down on the futon. The sheets are crisp, the blanket heavy and warm. We leave the shoji screen cracked slightly, just enough to see the garden lantern flickering in the night. Outside, the maple leaves move gently. Somewhere nearby, a bamboo fountain tilts and falls with a soft, hollow clack. And sleep arrives like everything else in Kanazawa, unrushed, graceful, and full of quiet depth. The morning air is crisp, but not cold. Light mist curls in the courtyard just beyond the window, hovering above the moss and stones like breath made visible. A crow calls somewhere far off, sharp and distant. Then nothing. The ryokan is hushed. Slippers tap faintly in the hallway beyond the sliding door. Breakfast is served in a small tatami room just off the main corridor. The meal is arranged with the grace of a painting. Grilled fish, miso soup, pickled vegetables in tiny porcelain dishes, a square of tamagoyaki, and a bowl of rice that steams gently. Everything is quiet. No music, just the clink of chopsticks, the shuffle of socks on straw mat. We leave the inn as the sun filters through clouded sky, a soft, clean light that gives every street corner a silvery edge. The walk to Higashi-Chaya district is gentle and quiet. The cobblestones are still damp from last night's rain, and the paper lanterns that hang from wooden eaves sway slightly in the breeze. In the morning hours, the district is nearly empty. The old tea houses stand in careful stillness, their latticed windows casting long shadows onto the ground. We stop first at Kaikaro Tea House, one of the few working geisha houses open to the public. The entrance is guarded by Norin curtains, the cloth brushed aside as we step into the dark warmth of lacquered wood. Inside, golden screens reflect the soft overhead light. Red staircases wind toward closed upper rooms. The scent of incense lingers in the corners, sweet and smoky. We're shown the tatami room where guests are once entertained, the garden behind it perfectly framed by the open shoji, and a display case filled with lacquered hair combs and delicate slippers. On the second floor, we sip matcha served in wide ceramic bowls, the bitterness mellowed by a wagashi sweet shaped like a maple leaf. The tea is thick, earthy, and warm in the hands. The room looks out onto the district rooftops, tiles slick and dark against the pale sky. Back outside, we drift slowly down the lane to Hakuza, one of Kanazawa's oldest gold leaf shops. The exterior is modest, but the inside holds quiet wonder. Walls lined with golden trays, lacquer boxes, folding fans, all dusted in the thinnest possible layer of gold. A woman welcomes us with a low bow and offers a tiny demonstration. Gold leaf so thin it moves with the breath of your hand, floating before it settles on a bowl of lacquer. We try our own hand at crafting a small keepsake, placing the gold with tweezers onto a folded paper bookmark. It clings gently, shimmering, soft as silk. When we're done, they wrap it carefully in washi paper and twine, like something sacred. For lunch, we walk a few streets over to Shijimaya Honpo, a small restaurant that serves traditional Kaga cuisine. The space is quiet and warm, filled with the scent of rice and miso and the faintest hint of charcoal. We sit at a low table, legs folded beneath us, and are served jibuni, a duck and vegetable stew thickened with flour and flavoured with wasabi greens, a specialty of Kanazawa. The broth is rich and comforting, the duck is tender, the wasabi leaves adding a subtle heat that lingers. Alongside it, bowls of rice, simmered lotus root, pickled ginger, and a small dish of eggplant, cold and glossy, with miso. After lunch, the day opens wide and quiet. We make our way to the 21st Century Museum of Contemporary Art, its white facade curving like a gentle wave, windows tall and transparent, allowing the sky to spill inside. The exhibits shift from the whimsical to the surreal, a pool that looks real from above but reveals dry space beneath, a room filled with suspended coloured threads, mirrored walls that echo and vanish. But here too the silence remains. Visitors speak in whispers. Footsteps are soft. The building itself seems to listen. In the afternoon light, we walk to the Nagamachi Samurai district. The streets narrow. The buildings lean in, walls of earth and straw rising beside a gentle canal. The water moves slowly, its surface catching the light between low bridges. Bamboo screens, clay walls, wooden gates. It all feels held in time. At the Nomurake house, we remove our shoes and step onto polished floorboards. The house is cool and quiet, each room opening into the next like a breath. The garden outside is a perfect scene in miniature. Moss, stone, waterfall, and wind-bent tree all compose like a haiku. We sit on the veranda and look out over it for a long time. The air smells faintly of cedar and rain. Inside, the family's armour is displayed in a glass case. Nearby, a scroll hangs beside an alcove, its ink strokes so fluid it feels like they might shift at any moment. A small cup of tea is placed beside us, unasked for, perfectly timed. Evening finds us walking back toward town, the light deepening, the air turning cooler. We dine at Kurin Sushi, a small counter-style restaurant tucked into a quiet street. The chef greets us with a soft nod. The space is warm with wood and the scent of rice vinegar. We sit at the counter, watching each piece prepared with calm precision. Fluke, uni, sweet shrimp, snapper and toro, each placed on a small ceramic dish like a work of art. The fish is tender, the rice warm, the flavours so clean they seem to vanish the moment we taste them. Between courses, we sip cold sake from a thin glass cup. The chef smiles, says little. There's no need for words. Outside, the night has settled over Kanazawa. The streetlights cast soft pools of amber on the pavement. The town glows like a lantern held from within. Back at the ryokan, our futons are laid again, the air is cool and dry. The maple leaves outside the window flutter once, then still. We lie down in silence, and sleep follows, deep and golden. We wake early. The sky is still pale, washed in a gentle grey that hasn't yet decided whether it will stay dry. In the courtyard outside our window, the moss glistens faintly, still holding last night's dew. A breeze lifts the Noran curtain by the inn's entrance, and we can hear the soft clatter of bowls being arranged for breakfast. There's a calmness in the early morning here that feels earned, not manufactured. It belongs to the streets and the lanterns, to the sound of a broom sweeping stone just outside. We rise quietly and slip into our slippers, stepping down to breakfast once more. It's simple again. Miso soup, a perfectly cooked egg, grilled salmon with a wedge of lemon, rice and pickles, and green tea steeped just enough to leave its warmth in the throat. There's a kind of ceremony in every movement. The placement of chopsticks, the small bow of thanks, the soft parting of a shoji screen. We pack slowly, placing each item back into our bags with care. The room feels reluctant to let us go. Or maybe we're the reluctant ones. Our first stop this morning is Omicho Market, just a short walk away. Even from a block out, we can hear it waking up. Vendors arranging crates, calling out prices, the occasional clang of a bucket. Inside, the market pulses softly with life. Locals move with purpose. Tourists wander more slowly. Stalls overflow with silvery fish laid on beds of ice, deep green seaweed, lacquered fruits, and perfectly marbled cuts of beef. There are oysters being shucked behind a glass counter. Somewhere, someone grills skewers of eel over charcoal. We find a seat at Iki Iki Te, one of the tiny seafood counters tucked between vendors. We order a kaisendon, a bowl of warm rice topped with slices of sashimi so fresh they seem to shine. Tuna, sweet shrimp, salmon, squid, a little wasabi. It's a breakfast that tastes like the sea, but gentler, brushed with soy and perfectly quiet. Afterward, we walk slowly along the canal that winds behind the market. The water is glassy, reflections of rooftops ripple only slightly. We pause on a bridge and lean over the railing just to watch the koi pass beneath us. A short walk brings us to Oyama Shrine, tucked quietly into a grove of trees, far less crowded than it might be in Kyoto or Nara. The entrance gate is striking, blending traditional Japanese design with hints of Dutch influence, stained glass glowing faintly even in morning light. It feels both ancient and unexpected. Inside, the grounds are cool and calm. We wash our hands at the stone basin, bow once, and walk toward the inner shrine. The wooden walkways creak beneath our feet. The trees arch overhead. In the distance, a bell rings, low, long, and soothing. We tie a small prayer to a line of fluttering ema plaques. Our handwriting feels clumsy next to the neat curves of Japanese script, but still we add it, our silent thank you to this place. Lunch today is at Curio Espresso and Vintage Design, a cafe that feels like a quiet hybrid of Kanazawa and Portland. Inside, warm wood, vintage maps on the walls, and the smell of espresso and toasted bread. We sit by the window and share a sandwich, grilled vegetables and cheese on thick bread, along with a cup of pour-over coffee that's dark and smooth. We don't talk much. The quiet outside seems to have followed us in. In the afternoon, we explore the Teramachi Temple district. It's a place most tourists overlook, and we're glad for that. The streets wind up into the low hills, lined with temples both grand and humble. Gates of dark wood, bells in small towers, stone paths traced with moss. There's no map here. We simply walk. One temple is open, unattended. We step inside and remove our shoes. Tatami mats stretch across the floor. A small altar glows with candlelight and the scent of sandalwood. Outside the window, the garden is shaded and still. The wind brushes the maple leaves and they move like the hem of a silk robe. We sit for a long time, and when we leave, we bow once quietly. Our last stop is Gyokusen in Maru Garden, behind Kanazawa Castle, where wide lawns slope toward a carefully composed pond. Few people are here, and we walk the loop slowly. A pair of ducks drifts across the water. The stone lanterns lean slightly forward, just like the pine trees. We find a bench in the shade and sit for what feels like a very long time. The sun begins to lower. The wind carries the scent of cypress and warm stone. Somewhere nearby, a gardener tends to the moss with a pair of wooden chopsticks. Time folds here, not backward, not forward, just softly in place. We return to the ryokan for our bags, the innkeeper meeting us at the door with a warm bow and a soft ki o tsukete. Take care. The taxi glides down the lane. The trees are beginning to shift in colour. Red here, yellow there, the green just starting to fade. At the station, the train hums quietly on the platform. Our seats face the window, the city begins to move past. And Kanazawa, quiet, crafted, dreamlike, stays with us. In the golden leaf tucked into a book, in the smell of moss and tea, in the silence that felt like an invitation. Not goodbye, just a quiet, endless return. We hope you enjoyed this journey. Please follow us for more destinations, and don't forget to leave a review. It helps others find a peaceful place to drift off to. We'd also like to remind you that information in this episode may become outdated. Please verify with your own research if you plan on travelling to any of these lovely destinations. Until next time.